Hello and happy Saturday, campers. I have already seen the chat popping off before we even got here, and that makes me
Popping
extremely
off.
happy. Yeah. Um, Happy Saturday. I'm back from the shore and have decided since I got some of my needed fix that I'm going back down for one night Monday.
Nice.
Good.
The special person, but that's just for one night, but I will not be offline. But welcome to Coffee and Conversation. I have water in my mug. Oh, hi, Rafi.
Early morning cat, but
Hi,
it's
Rafi.
official.
Welcome to my friends and beautiful faces on the screen, co-founders of the Seneca Project, Taraset Mayer and Michelle Kinney. Of course, we have Julie Rudkinski, author of Salty Politics on Substack, and all-around badass. And we have many Scott Jennings slayers here on the screen, aka liars. I'm Joe Carducci, and I'm back from the shore for a limited engagement only. No, just kidding. I'm very, very glad to be here. I'm sorry I missed Wednesday. I stayed in the chat until my daughter was like, "Can we play that?" Like, that's what kids do, apparently. And then she never wanted to go in again. So, hi, friends. It's really good to be back and good to see your faces.
Hey, everybody. And so happy to see all these incredible people in the chat. It's like amazing that we've built this community on Saturday mornings. To that end, we have a little bit of it's not really an announcement. We're going to make an announcement in a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, we would love for people to start going over to subscribe to the Mayday. Is it the Mayday Network, Michelle, or just Mayday Network?
Yeah, it's the Mayday Network.
The Mayday Network on YouTube, because we are going to eventually
down in the crawl, down at the bottom.
Yeah, stop streaming this to the Seneca Project, and we're going to start streaming it into all of our individual YouTubes. Eventually, we're going to start streaming this just to the Mayday Network. Eventually, we'll also be able to do this over Substack, but we have an announcement we're going to make on that in a few weeks. In the meantime, we would love for people to just subscribe to the Mayday Network, because starting maybe next week or a week after that, but certainly by Labor Day, we're going to be streaming on YouTube just to that network. So I know.
Just to be clear, it's just Seneca's not going anywhere. It's just we're just separating it because we're Seneca Project is doing political things, and Mayday is going to be doing lots of other things.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, they will still be in existence, just different priorities.
And they will be a sister network in all things, and a collaborator and contributor in all things, and partner in all things to the Siren, because we need to lift all boats and each other all the time. That's how we do it. We work together. We help each other, amplify each other. So I'm very, very effing excited. I look at that. I said effing and not fucking. Oh, there it is.
Wow.
Julie's dad was
I'm
happy for a second.
No, but I'm so excited because, and we've talked about this, guys. You all inspire me every day, but we need more women's voices and energy and advocacy and fights out there. I'm looking around so often, and women are really, and thank you to all the men who are allies and all of this, etc. But women are really leading the way right now. They're really kicking ass, and they're speaking truth to power in a different way. They're fearless. We are fucking fearless, and I'm so
and we have
proud.
more to lose.
Yeah, well,
amazing.
That's true
Right.
too. Yeah, exactly.
Fair.
In the face of that,
women led everything. We just do.
And by the way, I was actually thinking about this. You mentioned Scott Jennings, Joe, but I was thinking about that more generally. It's really the women who push back on that bullshit all the time.
Yeah.
It's never the men. Never. I don't know how many times I've been on these panels. I'm not just talking about him. He's a clown. But I mean, constantly, it's always the women who are standing up for this. And it's kind of interesting how women's voices, even in the progressive space, I feel, have not been amplified as much as they should be, which is why what you're doing with the Siren is so deeply, deeply important. It's what we are going to announce shortly that I think is also deeply important. But it's so important for women to lift each other up. And I'm like, guys, we don't really compete with each other so much as support each other and lift each other up, which I think makes us a little special in that regard. And we are going to continue to do that with all of you here. So
100% true. And also the pushback, the venom is particularly, strong when it comes to the women who push back. And it's noticeable. It was noticeable this week because we had back-to-back And we were talking about this on Thursday on the Stakes, Joe, about how like Jennings and the MAG is like, they come for the women. You don't see them go after the male progressives like that or Democrats. They just don't.
Well, was it Julie, you were saying that Scott Jennings got pushback on CNN from David Axelrod, and he was like very kind of respectful, sparring, you know.
It was interesting because the day after first Tara on Tuesday night really shoved it up
Monday.
And then
Monday, Julie, you keep wanting to put me on Tuesday. It was Monday night.
Monday night. No, was it Monday night?
Epic. Yeah,
I guess I was on with him Tuesday night then. Whatever. The point is, Tara just eviscerates him. As I said, he goes home and has a George Costanza jerk store moment where he sits around thinking about the comeback to what Tara said. And then I go after him the next night, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well the jerk store called. They're out of you." And of course, I would take care. I'm there. You're their best customer.
I'm gonna tell him I was in the pool Jennings from now on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of shrinkage there. Exactly.
Oh my God.
And so the next day, he goes on after being eviscerated by me. He goes on with David Axelrod. Because I had said to him, was one of the things I said to him, he's bitching about Washington, D.C.'s crime rate. And I was like, interesting, because Louisville, Kentucky, which he, of course, is so fucking thirsty about representing in the Senate that he can't possibly criticize. I said, Louisville's got a much higher crime rate than Washington, D.C. Why aren't there any National Guard troops being deployed to Louisville? And, of course, he just rolled his eyes because he didn't have an answer. Well, then he obviously went home and had a jerk store moment with me because David Axelrod brings it up the next day on Casey Hunt's show. He's like, "Oh yeah, well that's because Democrats.
It's run by Democrats.
And also we have a Democratic governor." And it wasn't like personal the way he was with me. It wasn't like, really, David Axelrod, I don't know what you do for a living. I've never heard of you.
Right.
David Axelrod,
you've been in politics since I was a little kid. Like,
yeah. And I'm like laughing at this because I remember he said something identical to Catherine Rampnell, who is now an anchor at MSNBC. But while he was saying this to her, she was a very prominent columnist of the Washington Post. And he's like, "Well, I've never heard of you. I don't really know what you do for a living." And it's like, really, my man? Because
she's like an economist or something?
Yeah.
And like a financial reporter who knew inside and out. It was an economics like tariffs conversation or something, and she was wiping the floor with him because she actually knows what she's talking about.
Very smart.
It's such a mean girl. Like, it's such a mean girl. Like, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah,
it's like,
pulled a Mariah Carey. Only Mariah gets it.
Yeah,
I don't know her.
I don't
Get
know
out of here. You're not
and it's
Mariah.
like, really? You know exactly who I am because you were sucking up to me nonstop on every show we ever did. Well, there was a possibility that Trump was going to lose, and you wanted some allies in the Democratic Party. But now, of course, now that Trump's around, I guess much like the rest of these MAGA idiots, he thinks those days will last forever. They're not going to last forever. And he's made so many enemies needlessly.
Yeah.
That it's just, like, he's at the top of the list. And not just, and I remember being on with, she used to be an anchor at MSNBC. I cannot remember her name. She's wonderful. I don't know why. It's total Alzheimer's.
On MS?
She used to be an MS. Then she was on a panel with me and Scott. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He said to her,
Tiffany Cross.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. And I love you, Tiffany. And I'm sorry. I was completely having a brain moment. She went after him she got the best of him. And he was like, "Oh yeah, well, at least I didn't get fired from MSNBC." And it's like,
I saw
on
that,
air.
yeah.
And I'm like, why are you being an asshole? Like, because he's got nothing else to say.
Correct.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it is. Go personal when there's nothing left.
He
doesn't know how to debate. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, when you don't know how to debate, you start devolving into jerk store moments.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the first thing you learn in debate 101. When you in college, in my first class that I took on debating and persuasive arguments and things like that, they teach you one of the first things. the tactic when you're losing an argument is you go to ad hominem attacks. You substitute the argument, or you go to ad hominem when you're losing. So I mean, it's so 101. But I don't want to talk about this fucking guy anymore. When I expended like so much energy on him this week. I mean, dragging him because he deserved it. Yeah. But there's a lot of other things going on.
Because he's a
Saturday.
Bitch.
But I want to talk about another little bitch though. That is into this. I want to talk about the other person that was on that panel that is fucking unhinged. And if you guys talked about this on Wednesday, I'm sorry because I missed it. But
Jillian Michaels.
What the fuck?
Oh my.
That chick has jumped the shark, and she was like, am I a racist? Yeah. Basically, like just owned being a fucking unabashed idiot, first of all.
And when Julie said something about, she was like,
well,
she has a black daughter.
I know.
Guys.
That's what I said. Who was it?
I didn't know.
In the group chat. So was it you, Michelle?
I didn't know that.
She adopted a black girl, a black daughter. And I was like, oh my God.
It doesn't matter.
It's a get out moment. Somebody
save that
poor
little
girl.
Because
during sunken place.
Because during that same segment, she was also going off on how the Smithsonian had the temerity to fly a pride flag. She's gay.
I'm like, right, she's a lesbian.
Her daughter.
The reason the
gender level shit.
I know.
The reason the Smithsonian was flying a pride flag was because it was Pride Month.
Oh my God.
Before the Trump directive that said they couldn't fly the pride flag anymore anywhere on government property.
But they can fly a flag with his face on it. Like Ag had a flag with those big banners with his face on it. I don't even know where else it does. We can talk about the Smithsonian because that shit scares me. Like that is Orwellian. That is records is erased. You know, all that matters is what they say. What the 2 and 2 doesn't have to equal 4. If they say it equals 5, it equals 5. But Jillian was like insane. And then I wondered. I said we talked about this. I wondered was she got so much attention for being insane? Well, CNN will probably have her back on.
I mean, that's not the first time she's been insane. So, and they've had her back on. They've done this. Like, I don't want to make this into a bitch session about CNN again, because there's a lot of other things to talk about today. But, they're doing this as long as the ratings are still there. They're going to keep doing this. And that's the bottom line.
The almighty dollar, really. And the thing, I think this is what like separates us from them in a lot of ways is like they're okay getting clicks and likes and attention for being insane and racist and for relitigating slavery, like all of these things. And like I couldn't live with myself ever doing something like that. Like it is one of my biggest. I mean, it's my Achilles heel, someone thinking I'm like a dumb asshole. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't walk through the world with people thinking that about me ever. And these people are proud of it.
It goes to a larger societal problem that I often talk about that I think started in the 90s and really reinforced once. I go back to a very specific incident. I bring up the time and I'm dating myself, but all of us are here old enough except for you, Michelle. When Bill Clinton went on MTV and I Rock the Vote panel, somebody in the audience asked him whether he wore boxers or briefs.
I may have been 10 years old, but I do remember.
It was on Arsenio. It was on Arsenio.
Was it Arsenio? Was the boxer? I thought.
Well, there was also an MTV.
The boxers or
Rock the Vote on MTV was
right. Arsenio thing was him playing the saxophone, which was like a cultural moment, which was fun.
Yeah, that was
the boxers and briefs thing. I always look at that as this is where we began making the presidency something that could be turned into a reality show, because we shouldn't give a fuck what kind of drawers the president of the United States wears. And the fact that somebody asked that, I always felt that was like a debasing of the office. And from that point forward, you had reality TV, you had, Jerry Springer, you had the daytime talk shows with all the crazy whose daddy is it and all that bullshit. People have been rewarded for the last 30 plus years for bad behavior. Reality TV bullshit. I mean, I watch Real Housewives. I'm guilty of it. But I'm just saying some of the rewarding of bad behavior in society has led us to the moment we're in now. And so now it's like there's no shame. People have no shame. The more outrageous you are, the more people will reward you with watching, even if it's hate clicks. And here
To
we
your-
are.
To your point, Tara, we have a former reality TV game show host.
Who was living a lie.
The Secretary of Hot Tub Sexportation is a reality star, and his wife is this big fucking news person on Fox, and she's a reality star. It's like Jeanine Pirro was on Fox. She's now the DC attorney. Like this is all. It's all reality TV.
But
It
let me
really
just go back. But let me just go back to what you touched on, Tara, which is it's a little different because CNN was once the gold standard
Yes.
in news.
It
And
was.
when you have somebody like me on with Jillian Michaels and I say slavery was bad
Yeah.
and a racist construct, which I thought was kind of a settled fact by now, and CNN giving somebody equal time to say, actually, no, I don't know if you know this, but white people didn't really oppress black people during slavery, which is literally what you said to me.
I know.
Like, you know, like one person,
2% of them.
only 2% of white people own slaves, and like implying that the rest were black people owning black slaves. Like, I don't get it. I mean, maybe I didn't go to
again,
the
it's a trope. It's a trope.
Yes.
About, well, Africans enslaved their own people
Yeah,
too.
I mean,
So
great.
it's like,
In the
just
Old
shut
Testament,
the fuck up, please.
in the
Yes,
yeah.
the Egyptians, those pyramids didn't build themselves.
So my point is like, if I say the sky is round and somebody else on CNN says the earth is round, and somebody else on CNN says that the earth is flat, and we can have a fair and balanced debate about that, what is CNN doing? It is putting those two constructs on the same track and says that there's merit to both and we can agree to disagree on them.
Correct, which is
Like,
nuts.
that's not, I'm sorry, like that's Fox. Like I used to always joke when I was on Fox, like we're gonna have a fair and balanced debate. Is Barack Obama the worst president of the century or the worst president in the last, in the last 200 years? We'll have a fair and balanced debate. Here, it's the same thing now. Like, was slavery something that white people did to black people in this country, or was it not? We'll have a fair and balanced debate. What the fuck?
Right. Oh, we just didn't fight a whole war over it. That
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's again, this speaks to another thing that was in the news this week, which is about how, there's so much going on that again, things fly under the radar because it's the fire hose of fuckery constantly every day that we just like can't keep up with it. But Prager University.
Oh,
you guys heard about this, right? Prager U.
Yep.
Okay.
They've been around for a while.
I wrote about them like last year.
Dennis Prager has been around a very long time. You all remember that I was in these circles for decades. And Dennis Prager has always been one of those people kind of like that's been like in the academia space where he created this whole university to counter the woke liberal agendas and curriculum. Roth, honestly, being a cat. Thank God he didn't. What did you knock over, silly? Then he tear his ass out because he scared himself. Anyway,
Yeah.
Anyway, they created these like curriculums and alternative curriculums to combat the woke mob curriculums and all this bullshit. This has been going on for decades, right? So he creates this fake university. Along with like Mark Levin was doing this too for a while. They do it with Hillsborough. Hillsdale College, which is another one. Okay. And they have gone completely off the rails. They would teach like, oh, we're going to teach you the real Constitution, real American history. Dennis Prager, though, is like off the rails. He's a racist. He's a misogynist. Shocking. And he said some very questionable things about Jews. And yet this guy continues to get platformed. Well, now the White House is demanding that PragerU be aired in place of PBS. This is the PBS alternative now. And the part of the PragerU University curriculum, who used to teach there? I'm using these terms very loosely, guys.
Candace
Owens. Okay? The self-hating black woman who is running around, repeating white supremacist tropes.
Yep.
And they put a black face on it. And so she's made herself very rich doing this. But she was like part of that. Kanye West would say these crazy things about, Black Americans and white people and slavery. And, Kanye, I love Hitler. And this is the alternative now that they want to teach people. So this is the through line with changing the Smithsonian exhibits, right? There's a directive now out that we're going to take out all the anti-white stuff in history in the Smithsonian. J.D. Vance is the head of the Smithsonian now. Let's not forget that. They're trying to change the narrative to make it all about, and even Jillian Michaels said it, well, everything can't just be white people bad. Okay, First of all, you troglodyte bitch. It's not white people bad, all right? It's the history of what white colonization has done, not only in the U.S., but around the world.
Yeah.
It's fact. Like, I'm sorry if you don't like it, but that's what happened. Not all white people are bad. That is correct. However, there is a documented history of what colonization has done. So, like, get over it. So, too bad if you don't like it. How about do better? Don't prove the point.
I'm trying to find what you guys like. We have to somehow put some of these clips up because this PragerU shit. By the way, it's been in the Oklahoma school system, shocker, and the Bible system, shocker, right, for quite a while. And I wrote about this, I think last year. I'm trying to find my Substack on it. It's literally revisionist history on everything from the Holocaust to slavery to founding of America. Some of this stuff will blow your mind, and it is very much geared towards children. We have videos that are geared towards teenagers too, that are all about gender roles and what women should be doing in the work in home versus in the workplace, et cetera, et cetera. It is terrifying propagandizing, but really preying upon young, impressionable minds with exactly the kind of delivery system that lands because it's in cartoon style or pop video style.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying. I must have had my head under the sand legit because I was wondering why PragerU videos were all of a sudden popping up because this was a big thing when it first went into Florida and Oklahoma school system. This is insane. This is insane. You gotta find some of the videos.
I have the clip. I think I have the clip here. If I didn't watch it before I downloaded it, so hopefully this is the right one. Hold on.
Sorry, Mr. Columbus, but I heard at school that you spoiled paradise and you brought slavery and murder to peaceful people. Leo? Sorry. It's what I read and heard at school.
Caramba! Those are some accusations. The place I discovered was beautiful, but it wasn't exactly a paradise of civilization, and the native people were far from peaceful.
But you just said the Taino were peaceful.
They pretty much are, but there are other tribes who aren't. The Taino I had met had cuts and scars and bruises all over them. I asked why, and they told me about the Caribs, who are vicious, warring cannibals.
Cannibals? Like they
eat people, see.
Whoa.
Right? Hey, all the things that are bad in the world I come from, jealousy, lying, murder, war, it all exists in the land I just found too. But in Europe, we draw the line at things like eating people and human sacrifice. Some of the native folks from where I just left do those things regularly. So, these people in your time who think it was a peaceful paradise are misinformed. Or lying.
Yeah, but what about slavery? You didn't deny that.
Deny? No. Slavery is as old as time and has taken place in every corner of the world, even amongst the people I just left. Being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no? I don't see the problem.
Well, in our time, we view slavery as being evil and terrible.
Ah, magnifico! That's wonderful! I am glad humanity has reached such a time. But you said you're from 500 years in the future? How can you come here to the 15th century and judge me by your standards from the 21st century?
I can't.
For those in the future to look back and do this is, well, estupido.
Estupido.
This is what they're doing.
Because he's Italian. Like,
yeah,
we know,
right?
That was such like a weird. I was like, "What is this muddled accent?"
Before we just go, can I just raise one point of like historic privilege here? Christopher Columbus, who may or may not have been Jewish, ironically, was in service. He was Italian. He was from Genoa, but was in service to Isabella and Ferdinand, who in 1492, in the same year that he left to go find India and got lost and ended up here, or in Dominica, actually, is where he landed, were literally starting the Inquisition. They were burning Jews and putting them to the Inquisition. And if they did not convert, if they did not become what they call conversos, they were going to be killed. So to say that he came from a civilized society, as opposed to these savages who he found here in the New World.
Right. I guess
when
he never heard of the Crusades.
Burning people at the stake because they
Yeah.
did not believe in Jesus Christ, so much
Right.
so that there
Or were
is
there
like,
people were drawn and quartered? Or
Yeah.
like, I mean, like, are you kidding me? They
don't.
crucified Jesus on a cross. If you want to go back that far, that's pretty
Yeah.
savage.
Yep.
I can't. But guys, the point here that everyone who's watching this, I wonder how many outside of Oklahoma. I saw that we had somebody comment and say that they're battling this in Oklahoma. God bless you. And if there's anything we can do to help you guys in Oklahoma, please let us know, because this is dangerous shit. What they're doing, they're indoctrinating so many people, and this is how they do it with shit like this, and then make it. But they're smart and savvy. They're using our own technology and our own ways of communicating against us to make it more palatable. You put that looks completely benign, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Benign.
It's only when you lean in and you're like, wait a second.
Well, it's because we know better.
Right.
Listen to some of their video titles. The Inconvenient for Kids, The Inconvenient Truth About the Democratic Party, Why I Left the Left, War on Boys, How to Embrace Your Femininity. They have a video of Frederick Douglass reassuring kids that our founding fathers knew that slavery was evil and wrong, and they knew it would do terrible harm to the nation, but they were forced to be patient. There's even a video telling kids not to feel guilty about using plastic. Okay, these are some. I wrote about this. My God, I'm going way back on my Substack because I first became aware of it, I think, because of Oklahoma. It is literally insane. And by the way, not accredited in any capacity, in any way, educationally. There's no educational verification, legitimization, none of it. It's just Dennis Prager deciding to rewrite history and whitewash and sane wash and like gender whatever history for kids, because this is the true indoctrination, friends. They talk about the left grooming and indoctrinating kids to be
It's
woke.
always a projection. Always.
You know what?
Every accusation is a confession every time. This is fucked up that they want this to replace. They're going to fund this shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Well,
cannot.
this
You know what?
and
I was
Sorry.
going to say we should show the PBS video, Michelle.
yeah, well, we should, and we will in just a second. I just wanted to say really quick, like this is all part of Steve Bannon's long game strategy to get crazy people to run for school board office, to run for local office, like on the ground. And this is the Moms for Liberty stuff.
Yep.
And this is why our side, I say our side is just generally anybody who's not them. They play the long game and they listen and they get together, and this is the stuff that they are planning to do, and they are patient and they are not taking a day off. And so while the rest of us, we won an election, time to go take a nap. No, we cannot, because this is bubbling up under the ground every single day. And all of a sudden you look around and it's 10 years later and look what's happening. PBS is gone and we have PragerU under the guise of federal funding. I mean, it's madness. Mm-hmm. And so like, this is where, people have to sacrifice some of their time, like run for school board office, run for local, elections, whatever it is, because I'm telling you, these people are everywhere and they're running for office everywhere. And they're determining what your kids are reading in school.
And we had successful pushback after the broken brain COVID school board thing, where we saw Moms for Liberty rise out of the absence of burned masks, because God forbid you care about public health and safety and protecting others. But there was this huge pendulum swing back in the next round. I saw it right here where they were banning books in the next town over. 2 towns over, and this crazy right-wing board went apeshit nuts, and the next election they completely swept them out because people do need to stand up and fight. But once they understand what's happening, especially when it comes
that's a big part of it, right?
Yeah. That's where we come in. That's where people like everybody in this chat comes in. We have to talk about it because then hopefully you guys will go and talk about it and the outrage will spread. And then we can actually do something. And it does start at the very local level. It does start at the school boards, 100%.
It does. And I'm, oh, sorry, go ahead, Julie.
Oh, the only thing I was going to say is the part that they constantly say is you're making my white kids feel guilty. Like I have a white kid. He's blonde. Like he's pretty white. And he doesn't feel guilty. He just has an understanding of what was done. Like nobody's saying, hey, to my son, hey, you're the reason that we had slavery in this country.
Right.
He's not. But certainly it is not a problem for him to understand what was done in the name of racial superiority by white people. It's just a fact. Why are we so embarrassed about this? The Germans have no problem acknowledging that the Holocaust was something that they did. Nobody.
And they're not putting up statues of Hitler and his generals and saying, well, you know, no, it's actually illegal in Germany.
Well, and
that's not erasing history. That's they don't want to honor a fucking horrible, evil person that engaged in the Holocaust.
But let me tell you something. It is what's happening in Russia. And that's where these people are drawing their conclusions. And one of the things about this, we can talk about this Russia thing for a second. One of the things that was the media completely missed yesterday in their completely delusional, thrilling, like, oh my God, we're gonna have peace in our time. We were never gonna have peace in our time. This was so predictable that I wrote a Substack yesterday morning about how this was going to go. And lo and behold, it's exactly how it went because it's how it went. But one of the things that Putin did when he showed up, this is to the point of the PragerU and everything else, is he shows up and he says, as part of his remarks yesterday, and I was in the city of Magadan, and, you know, it's a great city and blah, blah, blah. And it's right here next to Alaska. And there's a reason that he brought up the city of Magadan, which nobody in our stupid mainstream media understood. But everybody in Russia understood. Magadan was the biggest gulag in Soviet times. When I say tens of millions of people perished there, it was so notorious that there are folk songs about taking a vacation to Magadan. Translation, you'll never see your family again, you will die. And the fact that he brought that up while he's kidnapping Ukrainians, castrating Ukrainian soldiers so they can't procreate again, sending children to PragerU type re-education camps from Ukraine, where they are now taught to hate Ukraine and that Ukraine was not a real place ever, and to basically hate their homeland, hate their parents, hate their country, is exactly what is happening, what these people want to have happen here, except for the fact that our media is too dumb to see the parallels. And they're not picking it up. We're talking, Joe, you did a whole Substack on this. We're talking about this today. But where is the media to say, you know what? This is fucking bonkers, Jillian Michaels. We're not going to platform you if you're going to say that Black people were not oppressed by white people in this country as slaves. Like, what more is there to say? Is nothing sacred? What next? The Jews weren't really oppressed by the Nazis? They wanted to.
Well, I mean,
that's where
that's a huge part of the right wing. Nick Fuentes, I mean, was a guest at Mar-a-Lago. Yep. So was Kanye West, and they both basically were like, the Holocaust didn't happen. I hate Jews. Blah 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 blah. And it's like this is normalized, and yet the thing that was just crazy with that too is just like then it's like the hiding behind the anti-Semitism stuff is like, oh well, we have to protect the Jews on campus because anti-Semitism. But these are the same people, the same man who's inviting Holocaust deniers to his house. It's wild. But I just want to show this really quick because this is, and you've brought this up several times, Julie. This is the children's book that Kash Patel, who's the FBI director, wrote. Plot Against the King. You can buy it for $14.99. A key player is uncovering one of the nation's biggest injustices, tells the whole story for the kids. Kash Patel partners with Beacon of Freedom Publishing House, an imprint of Brave Books, to bring a fantastical retelling of Hillary's horrible plot against Trump to the whole family. Full of fake heralds and Keeper Comey's spying slugs. This is a story of daring and danger, but never fear. Kash, the distinguished discoverer, will win the day.
Why does Kash's face always looks like he just smelled his own fart and isn't sure if he likes it? Sorry, go ahead.
He's such a weirdo.
He
Had
is
to
a,
stop calling
he
that.
every time
so many levels.
he's like Scooby Doo. But
Well, like,
I,
does he have a butt plug in, and then like I don't like it. Sometimes it just sneaks on up in there.
it's just
Sorry.
getting
I don't-
moved around. Yeah, it's very possible.
Sorry.
Sorry,
Sorry.
Dad.
But with that said,
Happy Saturday. Sorry.
I do think that we should show the PBS video because
Yeah.
I think a big difference here, and while their child indoctrination of American youth may be successful, we don't know yet.
Not if
It
we
will-
can help it.
Not if we can help
No.
it, but they will never be able to match the feeling that PBS
No.
has given us
Mhm.
as children, as parents, in not only teaching our kids ABC 1, 2, 3, but values and what it means to be a good person. So I'm just going to play this Mr. Rogers video that we put together a couple weeks ago.
In the late 1960s, America faced unrest and division. But even then, some things still mattered, like protecting children and the stories that shaped them. PBS funding was on the chopping block. One man stood up to defend it. On May 1st, 1969, Mr. Rogers spoke directly to U.S. Senator John Pastore, who had never seen his show.
And I'm proud
But that day,
to present Mr. Rogers to you now. Go ahead.
All right, Rogers, you got the floor.
something broke through.
I'm very much concerned, as I know you are, about what's being delivered to our children in this country. We deal with such things as getting a haircut, or the feelings about brothers and sisters, and the kind of anger that arises in simple family situations. This is what I give. I give an expression of care every day to each child to help him realize that he is unique. I end the program by saying, you've made this day a special day by just your being you. There's no person in the whole world like you, and I like you just the way you are. And I feel that if we in public television can only make it clear that feelings are mentionable and manageable, we will have done a great service for mental health.
Do you narrate it?
I'm the host, yes, and I do all the puppets, and I write all the music, and I write all the script.
Well, I'm supposed to be a pretty tough guy, and this is the first time I've had goosebumps for the last 2 days.
Could I tell you the words of one of the songs which I feel is very important?
Yes.
And it starts out, what do you do with the mad that you feel? And that first line came straight from a child. What do you do with the mad that you feel when you feel so mad you could bite? When the whole wide world seems oh so wrong, and nothing you do seems very right. It's great to be able to stop when you've planned a thing that's wrong, and be able to do something else instead, and think this song. I can stop when I want to, can stop when I wish, can stop, stop, stop anytime. And what a good feeling to feel like this, and know that the feeling is really mine. Know that there's something deep inside that helps us become what we can. For a girl can be someday a lady, and a boy can be someday a man.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful. Looks like you just earned the $20 million.
55 years later, Republicans voted in the middle of the night to gut PBS children's programming. Not because we can't afford it, but because they've forgotten what really matters. Fred Rogers didn't just defend public television. He defended our childhoods and the soul of this nation. And in the end, kindness won the day. What happened to the country that raised us on Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street? And what do we do with the mad that we feel when they rip away our magic?
Love is at the root of everything. All learning,
all parenting, all relationships, love or the lack of it.
Michelle, you are so talented. I was like, I mean, I don't know if people know this. That's obviously Michelle's wonderful voice narrating that, but you put that together start to finish for Seneca. And it's just, I'm blown away by you. That's all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's very, very kind. Thank you.
Tara sent that to me late at night before it was out.
Midnight. It was
awesome.
midnight the night before we released it, and I sent it to Joe. I said, "Look at what Michelle just did," and the reaction was exactly what it is now. See, I get to work with her every day. You guys, I worked with Michelle for 3.5 years and knew her talent, and it was not appreciated where she used to be. And part of why we started Seneca was so that her full talent could be appreciated and on display, and we could combine our talents together and do what we do at Seneca, and be killer storytellers and messengers and content creators for good, without being held back.
Limited.
Yes,
Limited.
I guess
Nobody else does.
that's actually a nice term for what it is.
Yeah.
where we
Well,
came
limited
from.
and also, I mean, I'm just gonna be
Handcuffed
real.
is a word you could use.
Handcuffed is a good one.
Told
But
that
this-
you don't belong, told that you don't do anything of meaning, that you're a paper shuffler, all of those things. But, and for all of those reasons, to Tara's point, we wanted to be storytellers and lean into our strengths and lean into the things that we were told to ignore about ourselves in order to make a difference.
Correct.
This is what's missing. Okay, this I could go. I think I'm done ugly crying. But this is what's missing so often from the narrative that comes from the left or from the resistance or the persistence or whatever, is this humanity component, right? Like, you guys know, I could go off on that all day long, but that's what connects. That's what actually makes the change. That's what people hold on to. Oh, we have a drink delivery. Cheers, Michelle. But we also hold on to drinks. But this is the stuff that makes the difference. We know that storytelling moves the needle. We know that finding the place in a person's heart and mind and soul that connects to them on a deeper level than policy and platform, legislation, memos, and strongly worded letters, etc. It's when you put your heart out there and you allow yourself to be vulnerable and share your truth, that other people feel seen, and that's what no one else is doing, and that's what Seneca does so well. And I swear to you, I've said this a million times. You guys know that I don't work with Seneca for Seneca. I don't get paid by Seneca. I believe in what they are doing so much that their ads, that one and American Girl in particular, but all of them, but they are life changing and they are conversation changing and they are needle moving. And we need more of that. We need to encourage and fund and amplify more of that. And I'm so proud. Like, that video, every time it gets me all the places. But that's how we impact the world in the way that we want. And that's how people are motivated to join the fight and not disengage. So I just want to thank you for that. And for ugly cry time. For all of the things that you do, but for finding that place in our hearts that can actually bring us together instead of pulling us apart. So that's it.
So let's go into everything you said, Joe, because I too don't work for Seneca or with Seneca, but you guys are so everything Joe said plus one to that. I will also say that I think your larger point, Joe, about what Democrats don't get right or the resistance doesn't get right is we tend to lecture people, right? We tend to try to beat people. We try to intellectualize the problem. We bring statistics to the conversation. Whereas people
policy put into a gunfight, as I often say.
Whereas people are motivated, I think, much more by visceral reactions like this, right? I don't know who that senator or congressperson was who wanted to cut PBS, but it's not like Fred Rogers brought a bunch of statistics about how many kids he helped or how many viewers PBS had or how much money he spent versus how much funding he got, and so on and so forth. What he talked about was from the heart about one little boy contacting him and saying to him, "What do you do with the anger that you feel?" Or I forgot what the
mad
phrase.
that you feel.
Yeah.
And it's just. I'm going to make a really crazy analogy, but I've always kind of felt this way. When you go to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, and I haven't been there in a long time, but as I recall, there were all these piles of shoes of people who were who had to take off their shoes to go to the concentration camp. When you go to the Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem, you only see one pair of little boy shoes. And to me, that one pair of little boy shoes had much more of an effect than the hundreds and thousands of shoes that you saw piled up, because it was so poignant. And so Democrats, I know this is a crazy analogy, but to me, Democrats always try to overwhelm with facts and figures and rationale.
50-point graphics on what we did this week.
Right, exactly. Whereas this ad is so powerful to me, Michelle, because it was just letting Mr. Rogers speak for the most part. And then, of course, at the end, the wonderful pictures of him with all these different kids that you put up there, which I thought was also really powerful. But I think that's a lesson to Democrats. If anybody's watching this who's in my line of work, who does this for a living, like that's actually a very powerful message that I think we all need to bear in mind when we cut ads for Democratic candidates or Democratic causes. That's how you do it. Like Michelle, ironically, I don't even know that you and I have had this discussion before. Like, I actually want to show that ad to people to say, this is how you should do it, and hire Michelle.
And it's not even overtly political. That's the part too that like makes it people want to engage with it. Is that so Democrats often forget that when you find something that hits this way, that hits the heart, that hits the soul this way, it's actually usually apolitical, right? And that's where you can get people who may be like, I held my nose and voted for Trump, or I couldn't vote for either, so I didn't vote, and I didn't get involved. But you hit them on this human level where it's not like somebody's hitting you over the head with politics.
Yeah.
And it moves them in a different way. That's also the genius of it. Like, because people aren't like, oh, they're just shoving, Democratic propaganda down my throat and they're all bad and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, never that.
Oh, I was a kid. I mean, that's why this video hit me so hard. PBS and Mr. Rogers in particular was a lifesaver for me. It was a lifeline, and for many kids. But all of us have been children. Many of us have children. All of us know children, and it's not about what letters next to your name when you vote. It's much bigger than that, and that's another part of why this is so genius. You need that overtly political content that you guys make, because sometimes you got to punch them in the throat too. But when you have this. Yeah, exactly. When you have that's like, and it's good cop, bad cop kind of, but that's successful. But that's you. But when you have something like this, I think you're right, Julie. I think this is the perfect example of how you do it. Not every ad should be this way.
There's a time and place for it. But it's
Somebody,
true. And the thing about this and why Mr. Rogers and PBS was so powerful for folks is because there's a certain amount of decency that there was no political motive behind. I mean, just teaching kids to be decent and to be accepting and to be good and to acknowledge the things that kids go through or the questions they ask, including the photograph of the Black soldier. And that was also important because of the time that we were in and the way that military was treated coming back from Vietnam, and particularly Black men and women in uniform, no women really, men in uniform. That was a really powerful social commentary because of how mistreated they were as well. In the context of children accepting them, it's like children aren't born like that, right? They're taught to be. Their children are not born to be racist or to hate. That's not inherent.
Right. And there's a reason why I chose that clip in that with the Officer Clemens 2 times, because Mr. Rogers invited, and he was an actor, I can't remember his name, but his character's name was Officer Clemens, and he invited him on the show in 1969 when the pool, the segregated pool policies there was a lot of this going on in the United States, and he wanted to break down that racial barrier with his audience of children by inviting him into his backyard to wade in the pool with him. And so kids would see See,
that it's okay.
This is okay. This is okay. And he did it again in 1993. He did this twice on his show. And like this is like it's the subliminal message of kindness and acceptance that permeates and gets into your DNA, and it stays there. And I think that, you know, like that, it's just, we were all raised on that. And I think that, you know, that's why we see the world differently than some of these other people. I don't understand.
And I, as an adult, still watch PBS for the arts and performances. I mean, people know that Michelle.
Great performances,
right. Michelle comes from a theater background. There were times when Michelle and I would text her and say, "Oh my God, are you watching great performances? Look what's on right now," or the Broadway features they would put on. The other night, for the first time, I saw the notification on the screen about how PBS is going away. Like PBS is losing its funding the federal government has removed all funding from PBS starting September 30th or October 1st or whatever, I think when the fiscal year starts. Please send in donations, blah, blah, blah. It came across the screen while I was watching Ray at Royal Albert Hall in London. And Ray, if you guys don't know,
she's amazing.
Extraordinary talent. Extraordinary. I saw her for the first time on the Grammys, actually. And then I was like, oh my God. I texted Michelle. I was like, who is this?
I know. I was like, I've been listening to her for a while. I love all these British women.
Welcome to the club. I was like, oh my God, she's extraordinary. But anyway, introducing her with a full orchestra behind her at Royal Albert Hall in London. She actually stripped down to her drawers to perform a song about body shaming and about being, and her sexual assault that happened to her. I mean, it was unbelievable to see this. And I was like, oh my God, that's an instance where it wasn't gratuitous. The point that she was so uncomfortable, the point that she was making was that you have to put yourself out there in order to talk about what's happened to you and not be ashamed by it. To do it in that environment, oh my God, was amazing. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, these are the things you wouldn't see. You wouldn't see them anywhere else. And PBS shows those
you
things
see it on PBS. And like last night I was at Wolf Trap going to the opera. I saw Carmen. And my mom was there with me. It was my mom and I, my parents and my husband, and we were there. My mom looked over at me, and because we were there, my mom had been taking me to performances since I was a young girl because she was in the arts. I mean, she was on Broadway and in music and instilled that in me very young. And she looked over at me, was a little emotional, and kind of just like took my hand, because here we are at Wolf Trap watching Carmen in the opera it was amazing and in different
outside with the elements. I mean, there's something about experiencing theater in the elements that's really amazing.
And I said to her, I said, Mom, this is because of you. You taught me to appreciate this as a kid. I mean, Wednesday, where was I Wednesday, guys? I was at the Toto Cross Men at Work concert, jamming out. And then Friday,
don't blame your mom for that one, Cal.
Oh no,
don't blame her for that. Don't blame
her. And I said to my mom, in the same conversation, I said, Mom, Wednesday was Toto. Today was Cross Men at Work. Today is the opera. And I said, that's all because of you. Because you taught me this. And she was like, oh my God, because we're a bunch of saps. But this is this is real we're not the only ones. I'm not the only little girl who had a single mother raise her at, 21 years old, that introduced me to the arts at a young age to appreciate all of this, where I can go from Tchaikovsky to Toto if I want, from Bizet to, Ray if I want. Because of things like this, and it's accessible.
It used to be
accessible, and they want to take that away. And
especially if you can't afford to go see these things in person, or you don't live anywhere near something like that. I mean, it's like the way that we get to see these things and experience them, and start to develop hopes and dreams as children, and the life that we want to have.
Right, and it's some woke mob liberal, right? Yeah. That's some liberal woke mob. Whatever, coming to indoctrinate your kids. That's bullshit. It's a red herring.
But it's also this backslide. It's not even a backslide. It's like it's a cinder block tied to our ankles in terms of decency, right? Like we are seeing from up on high, this rotten fish, that is rotten from the head down. That decency, empathy, compassion, inclusion. What? Oh yeah, they should name it after your mom.
Oh, that's sweet.
Once we get the keys back, we're doing all this shit. But look what they're modeling for our kids, but for everyone, for a society in general, in terms of indecency and depravity. I mean, we have at the top of this fucking shit pile someone who mocked a disabled reporter, someone who mocked a stutter, someone who attacked a teenager for being an activist, someone who, after lawmakers were slaughtered, didn't even feign to call. Someone who disparaged a deceased POW war hero to the point where he demanded that the flags that were being flown at half staff be returned to full staff, demanded that a ship bearing his name be blocked from his view.
Talking about John McCain, for those who don't know, that's true. Trump did that because they didn't want any John McCain anything honoring him when Trump was president.
So just think about what they are all not only modeling but embracing, and you can take it everywhere from the mocking and the bragging about sexual assault to the disparagement and degrading treatment of Vladimir Zelensky. Compare and contrast that, by the way, with the filleting that he just displayed in what he has consistently called Russia, including on Fox, Sean Hannity last night. Motherfucker.
Word of the week, by the way, Joe. Word of the week.
Filleting.
Yeah. I used that word on Scott Jennings, and apparently, heavens to Betsy, these same MAGA people could not believe how crass I was being. I'm like, really? It's just locker room talk, my friends.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say the same people.
This is the same guy who got up on stage in a campaign rally talking about the size of Arnold Palmer's penis.
Yeah,
and they're all fine with that, but you can't say fillet. Like, get out of here.
It's because it has too many syllables. They're so triggered by anything that's Slavic.
That would be too.
Troglodytes. That's also the word of the week. Troglodyte. Yeah, but seriously, and as a mom, like as a human being, but as a mom, this like fucking degradation of a basic humanity, of basic decency and respect for others, it pisses me off to no end, because I know what I teach my kids at home, but I am sick and tired of the other little fuckheads who show up at baseball using racial slurs and the R slur, which, by the way, that one, as a former paraprofessional who worked with autistic preschoolers, that R word, man, it sends me to another place. Instant block, by the way, any of them. But I see 15-year-old kids on my son's baseball team who use these words because it's cool now, because that's what they do. And this shit is permeating our society, and it is impacting and getting into our kids' brains. And that's the other part. Like when you take away the arts and the access to the arts and the access to seeing things that are beautiful and moving, and then you couple that with this constant dismantlement of just basic decency, what you get is the world that MAGA wants, the world that looks like Donald Trump and sounds like Don fucking Jr. And I'm sorry, but I am not here for that. Not even the littlest bit. I have fucking had
it's Biff. I mean, like, it's Biff from Back to the Future, like takes over the world. And like it's just like stupid, violent, assaulting, like dumb, like it's mean. I could go on.
What drives me crazy is, and I think we talked about this in our chat yesterday.
I saw that too, Norma.
Norma, you're right. That is correct.
Yeah, it was. That is true. So, and Tom Cruise has his own issues, but good for him.
I was like, Tom Cruise may be crazy, but he's not stupid. Yeah. And
so
like,
Tom
he can
Cruise
only
originally, Joe, it's reported that the Sly Stallone Kennedy Center honor was originally offered to Tom Cruise and he turned it down.
Wait, Sly Stallone's getting a Kennedy Center honor?
Yes, you were down the shore when this was announced. You didn't see the announcement?
No!
Oh my God. Trump is going to host it.
Oh, yeah.
He called it the Trump Kennedy Center honors, said that he's always deserved one and wanted one, and now he's going to get that hosted. Okay. God. And it's Sly Stallone, George Strait, Gloria Gaynor, because they had to throw somebody black in there.
They actually didn't have to. I find it interesting that they did. I think this is more that these are all songs from
his playlist, but they listen, they're still cognizant. They've got to show that, see, we're not racist. We're going to throw a black person in there. Who else? Who is it? Sly Stallone, George Strait, Gloria Gaynor. Who else?
Andrew Lloyd Webber, because he loves cats so much.
Right?
Michael, the Phantom of the Opera. Michael
Oh
Crawford.
God, Michael Crawford.
Right.
God, yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah, you were close. Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, close.
So yeah, and Trump,
really
again,
hosting?
Trump is going to host them.
No, really, not really. Really?
Yeah.
I want to go back to the beach.
Disaster. I know. Anyway, I'm sorry.
But this is
I
what we
cut you
talked
off
about.
there.
Yeah, what we talked about that drives me crazy
It's the TV show.
is that I think it was Gavin Newsom who said that Greg Abbott in Texas is rolling over for
I want to
Trump.
talk about that.
Yes. And all of a sudden the MAGAs went crazy. Oh my God, Greg Abbott's in a wheelchair. How dare you? How politically insensitive. And Gavin Newsom had a great answer to that, which is stop being so woke.
Yep.
Yes. You'll get over it.
Get over
it.
Yes, folks. 5G
Right.
check.
Cry harder, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, shout out to Gavin Newsom's comms team, who we just found out yesterday is women.
Women. Yep.
He's been
And a Latina.
killing it on social. If you guys don't subscribe to Gavin Newsom's Twitter, you need to. It
The
is
all cap stuff is cracking me up.
outstanding. They are trolling Trump in Trump's own voice and style. And we
Oh,
found
it's
out
great.
yesterday that it is women.
Did you see, and I have the screenshot, I can send it to Michelle, but did you see the tweet? Okay, so a Republican, California Republican said something, I can't wait to hand a defeat to you, Gavin Newsom, on this, the special election. I can't wait to hand a defeat. And you said it to me. They put up the news headline of that rep getting caught masturbating. And they said, "See, you're not going to hand us anything.
You're going to hand us anything."
Hand us anything.
Great. It was great.
It's great.
I mean, and look. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this really fast. I know we're over, but I do want to talk about. Look, I have a love-hate relationship with some Gavin Newsom. Okay, I know
Yeah,
that
we
is
all
just
do.
fact,
We're
right?
all in the same boat.
It's like my guilty pleasure, but it's like that bad boy in high school that I was out in high school. Who am I
He's a
kidding?
scoundrel.
Oh,
you know.
Camp, you know, he's Han Solo, right? Like you're like, I don't want to like you, but I like you.
Right.
Okay, but because he keeps showing the fuck up and meeting the moment, and that's what we need right now. And I gotta say, like he doesn't give a fuck. I know that this man swears more than I do. I swear to God, I've never heard anyone swear more than I do. He does, because I was on a call with him.
Hunter Biden, I think.
Oh, maybe, and we can talk about that too. But he said, look, I got kids. That's it now. That's what this is about. I have children who I need. He's fighting for his constituents. He's fighting for America. He's fighting for democracy. At the end of the day, his real why right now is his kids, is leaving this fucking democracy intact or somewhat intact for them. And he's put his own money into this. And he is literally fighting in a way that we need the entire party to show up and fight like. And if they can't, and if they won't, hi, Chuck Schumer, step aside. Just step aside.
If that's the case, Joe, then he should probably not let his son hang out with Charlie Kirk. Because that was
his son hang out with Charlie Kirk?
You not remember when he interviewed Charlie Kirk? And
I knew that. I knew.
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah,
pissed
yeah.
me off.
No.
No.
My son wanted to meet you, and like.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah.
I was after him for Charlie Kirk. I was on Smirconish about that shit because
I remember.
I was fucking pissed. I was,
And
and,
you were
and,
right.
we should have been pissed. And he hates Charlie Kirk. That's the other part. He got a lot of things wrong. Everybody we'll give him some grace. Well, I'll give him some grace.
He's got some good advisors, I hear, that have helped him change course. And since then, it's gotten better.
Well, I just want to throw one of these up here because they're really funny. This was a few days ago. All caps, of course, because this is how Donald Trump writes on Truth Social. All caps.
Right.
Donald Taco Trump, as many call him, missed the deadline. California will now draw new, more beautiful maps. They will be historic as they will end the Trump presidency. Dems take back the House. Big, beautiful conference this week with powerful Dems and Gavin Newsom, your favorite governor. That will be devastating for MAGA. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
It's great.
And
he's one after the other, like this.
Final warning, Donald Trump, maybe the most important warning in history. Stop cheating or California will redraw the maps. And guess who will announce it this week? Gavin Newsom. Many say the most loved and handsome governor.
Have you guys seen the
powerful team.
Wait, Michelle, you got to put this up. I got to send you this meme.
Do they
Oh,
have? Did you see
And
that they
can we
put
talk
up
about
a
Arnold Schwarzenegger for a second after we're done with that meme? Because
Yeah.
there's a New York
Did you
Times
see that
today.
they put up the fake Time magazine cover with Gavin Newsom with the
No.
crown on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But here's
Okay.
the deal. Arnold
Michelle, I
Schwarzenegger-
just put it in the chat.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh
my
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 God.
eyes watering because Rafi's tail just got in my eye now.
Oh, no.
Because he's on my lap. Because he's on my lap.
Oh,
He's on my lap, and his tail just so that's why I'm wiping my eye, everybody.
Well, this is what the left
Hold
is
on.
doing. God bless that we have something to.
The
This
thing
is
is,
honestly-
the thing about this is it's actually more accurate.
I
than
know,
the
we're like,
Trump's
it
version
goes-
of this.
Oh my god!
Wait, look at his hand is grass.
Love it.
You can see the vein in his arm. Oh my God.
But like, and it is not that far.
It's
I mean,
not that off
I think most of us have probably seen him in person. Look, I sound like a
good-looking man.
cougar, but he's a good looking man. He's a good looking man.
guy.
Let me
He's
tell
a
you
tall
something.
drink of water. He's taller than Donald Trump by a lot.
Listen,
But,
he's hot and smart, and he's the things that Donald Trump isn't, and this is why it's even better. Like the
Yes.
fact that he's pulling all this off when he looks and sounds like
Yeah.
he does is like
Mhm.
And
fantastic.
you know the best part about Gavin Newsom, because I don't know him, but I do know his wife, Jen Siebold Newsom. She is a dream. Like, I cannot describe to you how perfect Jen Siebold Newsom is in every way. She is a wonderful, brilliant, smart
She's an
documentary
actress
maker.
too, right?
She was. She's a documentary
Yeah.
maker now. She's
She
amazing.
was in an episode of Mad Men. I know I've mentioned this
Yeah,
before, but
and she is so kind,
Beautiful.
and sweet, and smart. She's been a big supporter of Gretchen Carlson and me with Lift Our
Mhm.
Voices. She's just a wonderful person who is always up to help. Like, we email her, we're like, we run something by you, and she's always up to help. She has a completely separate life from his in the sense that, not personally, but I mean professionally, she's not just riding on being the
Right.
first partner, she calls it. She's got her own thing going. She's fantastic. Like, the best asset that he's got is Jen Newsom.
I'd
But let me
love to talk to her.
It is shocking that he was
we would
married
love
to
to
Kim.
talk to her.
But
Yeah, me
let me say this about Jen, about what's going on in California that concerns me. Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's the person that, under the right circumstances, passed the redistricting referendum that now has nonpartisan redistricting that Gavin Newsom is trying to suspend for the next 3 elections, not permanently for the next 3, is out there saying that he's going to fight tooth and nail against this because 2 wrongs don't make a right, and yada yada. And I have
Shut
to say,
up.
And I have to say Arnold Schwarzenegger, because we talked about this. I think some combination of us talked about this the other day.
Yeah, on Thursday.
Yeah, on Thursday. And I will say it again here. Arnold Schwarzenegger wrote a very poignant column. He actually gave he did a video talking about how his father
Mhm.
effectively was like a loser because he was a Nazi. And then when the war was over, he understood that his life was destroyed and he never recovered. And he just died a miserable, embittered man because he went down the very wrong path of supporting Nazis in Austria in the 30s. And then everything else stemmed from that. All awful things in his life stemmed from that. And, you know, if you appreciate history, and that he was basically saying, don't do this with MAGA, don't do this with Trump. Don't be a loser like my dad. It was a very powerful.
It was great.
Yeah. For him to understand that, and then suddenly now to say, well, we can't fight fire with fire, and we have to be bigger than, to rise above. It's so privileged. I hate
Jesus
using
Christ.
that word.
I
but it's
can't.
but it's like, it's so like, okay, Schwarzenegger, why don't you sit in your $1 billion Bel Air home with your movie money? Because you're a white man, they're not, and you're a former governor, and you're
And
a
his
big
kids are Kennedys.
Republican and Republican.
They're not coming for you,
right?
But they're coming for everybody else.
Yep.
And for him to sit there and just kind of do the when they go low, we go high mentality, which is exactly what this article in the New York Times, he all but said it. Like 2 wrongs don't make a right. When they go low, we go high.
Listen.
Fuck you. Sorry, Dad.
Not now. Again, we say all the time, you got to play the game you're in.
Yes,
And that's what, listen, I feel Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm being like an institutionalist, and you don't want to do this because then they're going to do it back, blah, blah, blah. But not now. There's a time and place for when you have to kind of throw the old rules out because you're playing against an enemy that isn't in like a good faith.
Right.
Opponent.
That's the end goal.
Right.
As institution is and like respecting institutions and abiding by rules is the end goal. But like you can't use that to get.
You can't use that when the other side isn't doing that. That only works. They're exploiting the rules and the institutional norms.
Yes. If Arnold
Schwarzenegger fight back.
And if Arnold Schwarzenegger really wanted to fight gerrymandering, he would start in Texas. He would start with Texas. That triggered. That's where this what California is doing, what Newsom is doing, was triggered by what they're doing in Texas. And by the way, we all know this is not stopping with Texas. They're going to go into Indiana. They're going to go into Ohio.
They're inviting the Indiana. Indiana has a super majority, by the way. Yes. They're inviting they sent JD Vance there to go try to, intimidate them into doing this in Indiana. Now they're going to invite them to the White House to schmooze them to try to do this in Indiana.
And look, to Tara's point and everybody else, I know this. We got to play with the game as the game is being played right now. Okay, you can't come into a nuclear Uno playing like I don't even know, just regular old crap war. I don't know. You gotta. This is the game now. They have rewritten the rules, and by the way, what Texas is doing is bullshit. But what California is doing is a different process where they're letting the people have a say. They are continuing to uphold the democratic process, and this would only be for 3 cycles. Also that, and other states, other blue states, have mechanisms for doing this too. We don't want to have to gerrymander any maps. But this is the fight we have right now. This is what the Republicans are forcing down our throats. And if Arnold Schwarzenegger has a problem with it, he should be looking at Texas. He should be fighting Texas, JD Vance, Indiana. That's what he should be doing. And I think he's had a lot of really great points, and I've supported a lot of the stuff that he's done anti-Trump. But this ain't that. And again, if you're not going to be part of it, then get out of the way.
Right. It's not helpful. It's not helpful. Now is not the time to have an exercise in, academic exercise in the merits of keeping the independent commission that I set up. Listen,
he left off with
we
27% approval
rate. Good at the time. He was a good governor, but now, just be quiet. Then, just be quiet.
Yes.
Don't say anything. We understand. I feel you. However, it's not helpful now. Think about
what this says about. I just want to say this last part. Just think about what this says about what they know. What they know is coming. Yeah. They are cheating now because they know that they cannot win in the midterms without cheating.
Correct.
What does that say about what they're doing?
I bet he should be writing. We should be writing those every single Democrat that or Republican Arnold that doesn't like what's happening. That's what they should be talking about. Like Charlie Dent, he's a former Republican congressman, my friend.
Yep.
He also came out and was like, this is not a great idea, Republicans. Like, why are you doing this? Don't do this. Like, that's the theme. That's what everybody should be talking about. Donald Trump and Republicans are doing that. They're trying to cheat at the elections because they know they're going to lose. So they're going to cheat.
And they're going to lose because they are failing the American people and they are shanking their own voters so billionaires can get more yachts. Like they're taking your healthcare, your social services. They're taking your Medicare, your Medicaid. They're taking your Social Security. They're taking all those things. They're making it less safe for you to go to work, less safe for you to fly, less safe for you to breathe air, less safe for you to drink water, less safe for you to eat food. They're making your kids' schools poor, your services for special needs children less available. They are taking from you. They want you to live with less so they can have more, so they can have $1 billion airplanes and $200 million ballrooms you're never going to get to use. They know that they have fucked you over time after time after time for the last 8 months straight. And they know that people are starting to feel this shit. And so they know that you're not going to go and pull a lever for them. And Donald Trump, by the way, is not going to be on the ballot. So people aren't going to show up. So what are they going to they're going to cheat you so that you don't get a say. And I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat, an independent or a fucking alien from Mars. If you like having a say in this little experiment of ours, you should be looking at the Republicans going, why the fuck don't you want me to have a say? And saying no more. That's what they're cheating you out of. And that's what the Democrats and the fucking old school Republicans like Arnold Schwarzenegger, that's what they need to be talking about.
Who ironically would be one of the people to benefit from,
yes,
breaks and everything else. So he's,
well,
still the Broligar Club.
Listen, I think that that's a good place for us to end today. Because we're not going to.
Michelle has one more thing she wants to talk about.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say we should run Cheater because Seneca Project actually did do this. No Democrats have done it, but Seneca Project did this, and Governor J.B. Pritzker on Sunday actually said this on the Meet the Press Sunday show. And it was almost verbatim what Seneca Project did. And we ran this ad last weekend at Trump's Golf Club on the Golf Channel and on Fox and Friends. So, maybe once again, maybe Democrats can take a page out of the Seneca Project playbook because maybe we know what we're doing. And the ad is actually called Cheater. So anyway.
So Donald Trump is a cheater.
He cheats.
He cheats at golf.
He cheats like a mafia accountant.
He cheats on his wives.
On every wife he ever had.
He tries to cheat elections.
11,780 votes.
He cheats working people.
Small business people say they were stiff.
He cheats his supporters.
A scam to line his pockets.
Guess who he's cheating next? Look in the mirror. It's you.
Another brilliant man.
Sorry, Michelle, I forgot about your Mark Maron thing. And by the way, JoJo didn't her rant just now had nothing to do with Cheater. It didn't. As she was saying it, I was like, we got to play Cheater.
Yeah.
What you just said.
Well, I messaged the group chat this morning and I was like, I just want to make sure that I leave a few minutes to talk about Mark Maron this on the show today because he's one of the people out here. First of all, if you don't know who Mark Maron is, he's a comedian.
I didn't.
And,
fairness,
and I would say that he's probably the closest thing to a George Carlin that we have right now.
I know who he is.
Yeah, he does the WTF podcast. He's the one who did in his garage.
I'm like, okay, yeah, that guy.
Yeah, like he's the one who Barack Obama, when he was president, came and did his podcast in the garage. I mean, like Mark Maron is so smart and so funny and just likable. Honestly, I would love to see the guy live. I've never seen him. Anyways, the point being that I'm trying. He's also an actor. You may have seen him in Glow, The Glorious Ladies of Wrestling. He's in that show Stick on Apple. He does lots of stuff. Anyways, so he wrote this. It was a newsletter to his people. He wrote this back in October. And he really is taking the other comedians and specifically the male comics to task. I'm just going to read a thing here. He goes, well, it's even though I do not do a political show, I have been very clear in my specials and on the podcast and have believed for years what is brewing in this country is an American fascist movement rooted half in grievance and half in Jesus and enabled by tech oligarchs and an inundation of propaganda from many sources. It's fully percolated and pouring into the minds of all of us. It's shameless and proud. Culturally, the combination of blatant racist fear-mongering and the anti-woke movement has delivered their message for the future, a future that marginalizes almost all voices. The anti-woke flank of the new fascism is being driven almost exclusively by comics, my peers. Whether or not they are self-serving or true believers in the new fascism is unimportant. They are of the movement. Whether they see themselves as acolytes or just comics doesn't matter. Whether they are driven by the idea of what they are fighting for as free speech issue or whether they are truly morally bankrupt racists doesn't matter. They are part of the public face of fascist political movement that seeks to destroy the democratic idea. Now, he's been beating the drum. Here's again, October. This Daily Beast did an article about this. And then, hold on, where's the other thing that I pulled here? Where is it? Well, it doesn't matter. Anyways, he's been going off and off and off and off about this. So he had a moment the other day with Howie Mandel that I thought was great. I'm going to play this.
At this point, it's being hackneyed. You know, to be in a club where, you know, I walking down the hall at the comedy club and, you know, in one room, someone's doing their bit about trans people. And then I get down the hall and there's someone on stage going, well, I guess I got to do my bit about trans people. Like, no, you don't. You don't. It's hack now. I mean, you know, you guys got the freedom you wanted. You can now say whatever you want. They're defeated. Their rights have been denied. The policies that you guys encouraged with your stupid material are now policy. And now, like, you know, half the people under the umbrella of anti-woke, we've lost a tremendous amount of democratic-leaning ideas and movements. So whether they knew it or not, that's what they were spearheading. So now it's reality, and you want to still keep kicking them? Go ahead.
I don't know that the comedians have had that much power.
Are you out of your mind?
No, I'm being serious.
Joe Rogan. I'm not going to.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
You know, you can't separate. Like, if the movement is like, you know, we're being censored. No, you're not. You're not. There's no constitutional censorship issue with your free speech. You say things, and in a democratic shit show of an environment, you know, like Twitter or whatever, there's cultural pushback, but that's a specific issue. To frame it as some sort of free speech problem was a misdirect. It wasn't. It wasn't a free speech problem. It was that people were getting cultural pushback. That is not a constitutional issue. No one was being put in jail for saying anything. That's a free speech issue. But my problem is you're going to start talking about anti-woke, and that's going to be your point of view. That's going to be your ideological, you know, grounding for what you do. Okay, that's fine. But why does it have to be the same four things? You know, it's like they talk about the same shit. And I don't know a better definition of hack. I mean, after a certain point, it's like, you know, what juice does the word really have? How much do you have to give trans people? You know, what is your big problem with gay people? What's your big problem with women? It's like, what is this, 80s again?
Yeah. So I love him. And please go watch the special on HBO. It's great. And I just, it is refreshing. This is just from June. Mark Maron tears into MAGA comedians. I hope you're happy. I hope it was all worth it so you can say the R word again. He's one of the only ones speaking up. Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, Andrew Schulz, Joe Rogan. I mean, it goes down the list. And when I first moved to New York 20-something years ago, I hung out with a lot of comics, and a lot of them are just miserable, self-hating dudes. I mean, just real. But some of them give a shit, and they go out and they're out swinging for the rest of us and for the things that allow them to be able to go up on stage and say the things that they want to. I mean, I'm looking back to like George Carlin and Lenny Bruce, and like, these are the people who really went out and took risks. And comedy is supposed to be the anti-authoritarian part of our society. Like, it is supposed to be just inherently anti-fascist. And it suddenly has become not. They're all out there swinging against women and gay people, and anybody who says, hey, please don't say that, or don't say that, it's a little too far. And they complain, and now listen, this is the country that they wanted. Now they got it.
And Jerry Seinfeld, you know, is complicit in that, because Jerry Seinfeld, who doesn't really talk much about politics ever, made some comment a couple months ago where he was like, oh, you know, everybody got so woke, you got so PC, you couldn't say what you wanted to say. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus, to her credit, came out kind of swinging against him very politely and said, I disagree. Like, I disagree. You are effectively allowing people to do what Mark Maron just talked about.
Yes.
So,
well, we love her, and she's a spitfire, and God bless her for everything that she's doing, because she's not afraid to punch back where
another woman.
That's right. And a woman, of course.
Who's had like 3 insanely successful comedy shows, like, which just, that doesn't happen to anybody. So it really takes a very special person to be able to do that. So I was like,
survived cancer.
And survived
cancer. It's funny because it ties it all back to the joke store. So go back to Seinfeld, ties the whole show.
That's right. It all comes full circle. So
right, and I'll just say this, Michelle, there are a lot of, like Mark Maron, there are a lot of comedians out there and funny people out there right now who are really rising to the moment, and who, like the South Park guys, and thank God for the Onion too, and they are true heroes in this moment. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus and others, and comedy is catharsis. And so I just wanted to say that, like, kind of like goes back to the joke store, but like actually funny jokes.
Yes, and it all ties into the same thing that we were warning about, why Trump wants to come for the arts. It's all
of it's related. And so
together.
And
Like,
I listen.
South Park.
Yes, and people like, and there's a great article in the New York Times about how like South Park is crude and like all these things, and it's exactly what we need in this moment because they're not afraid. And same with Mark Maron. Like, this is the kind of shit that puts the wind in my sails, and it gives me hope and energy to go on. So like, listen, I hope someday to sit down with Mark Maron and have a conversation with him, because I think that he's a great guy and he's doing the right thing. And for all of that, we should be thankful.
Where's he?
I don't
Do you
know.
know? Is he
He's
based
in
in
LA.
LA?
I think he's like an LA guy. Yeah.
All right. Well, let me see. I have a lot of friends in LA. Let's see if we can make that happen.
I'd love
for
to.
one day. Well, I'll add it.
I'm
to
a
the
huge
checklist.
fan. I'm a huge fan of his. He's
Well,
great.
I want to, on that note, to say one last thing about heroes. You know, we have so many of you, and we're at like 11,000 people almost
Oh my
watching
gosh,
today.
yeah.
And there's a community in our group chat, and we love you guys. And I want to say something about Robert Carr, who is one of the super fans, who is in all of our chats for Seneca, for Over It, and he's been battling cancer. And so he is, I saw him say that he has some more testing, and hopefully that he'll be able to ring that bell after his next test. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been supportive of him and for this community lifting him up, because he's been going through this. And we hope you can ring that bell, Robert, and make sure you tell us, and we will be sure to congratulate you. We're all praying for a good report for you. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Robert.
Yeah, I'm glad.
In our chat, and wishing him the best, for sending you good vibes. Praying for you.
Robert, we're really
And also, I wanted to say thank you to a lot of you who have been supporting Seneca and continuing to donate for us. Thank you. Special shout out to Eric, who's continued to be an incredible supporter of ours, and his generosity has just been amazing, and it's helped us to continue to make our content.
Yes.
And to everyone that's been supportive of us, because we survive on your generosity. So thank you guys. Thank you to everyone for joining us on our Over It Saturday Coffee and Conversations. We got extra cat butt today. Rafi was he's right here. Here's his tail. He's right here. He's with us. We're all together in this. And thank you guys. We will see you. Make sure you like and subscribe to Mayday Media Network, as we said earlier in the show.
It's the Mayday. It's the Mayday Network. The Mayday Network.
Mayday Network. We had to. There was another name like that, so we had to Mayday Network it. Take out the media. But go and like and subscribe. We put the link in the chat, because we will be moving the show over there in a couple of weeks. So we want to make sure that you all follow us and continue to hang out with us on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And there may be some more coming. So stay tuned for that. Have a great Saturday, guys. And we'll see you on Wednesday for Over It.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.